Well, ladies and gentlemen, this might be a very short video because it's just a quick update on the situation with USA and South Africa, and quite honestly, it's not looking too good. That's what this video is all about, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get into it.
Criminals must taste you.
Ma'am, can you give me protection from yourself?
Did I hear that correctly? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Newsflash. I'm your host, Emilio. Thanks for tuning in. U.S. Congressman lambasts the ethno-nationalist gangster regime in Pretoria. Republican Ogles and colleagues hit out at the ANC in a letter to the president demanding to end AGOA following support for China, Hamas, and shelter of Al-Quds extremists. I am not going to go through the whole letter, but I think there are some key points that need to be mentioned. First off, in the paragraph where it does say the ethno-nationalist gangster regime in Pretoria working to be the undisputed successor to Mao's destructive land reform policies has for years attempted to expropriate land from native South Africans without compensation. That's right, you heard that correctly, for years, which implies that the US has been watching South Africa for many years and taking notes. Pretoria's human rights abuses against their own citizens constitute a likely violation of 19 USC 3703, specifically that the South African government has failed to demonstrate a consistent fidelity to the rule of law, which is 100% correct. Violation of this or any AGOA eligibility requirement would make South Africa ineligible for preference benefits. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit where it says, importantly, however, even the previous administration's own assessment of South Africa's human rights practices found significant abuses, including unlawful or arbitrary killings, arbitrary arrests and detention, serious government corruption, tracking in persons, and extensive gender-based violence, including femicide. And the American government is not happy that the South African government took Israel to court. In 2023, after Hamas terrorists invaded Israel and murdered 1,200 Jews and captured hundreds of hostages, including Americans, South Africa filed a baseless claim before the so-called International Court of Justice, absurdly accusing Israel of wanting to destroy the Palestinians in Gaza. The letter also mentions how South Africa is close to China and the American government is not happy about it. So what does this mean? Now, this is a letter from Congressman to the president. President, at the end of the day, Donald Trump, will decide what to do about it, and I think we'll hear about it pretty soon what he decides to do, and already President Trump is not happy. South Africa, in response to Donald Trump's previous threats, as the mainstream media in South Africa puts it, has decided to stop providing America with some minerals and other goods that normally are exported to the US. Some experts have said that this will do nothing in the favor of South Africa. But what does it mean for AGOA? Will South Africa be in trouble? Are there consequences if America decides to exempt South Africa from the AGOA agreement? I contacted Chris Hatting from CRA, the Center for Risk Analysis. Chris often keeps an eye on American politics, and I asked him, what are the consequences if South Africa is not part of the AGOA agreement? Here's what he had to say.
Should South Africa no longer continue to benefit from the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, the most immediate impact would be on the sectors and industries in agriculture, manufacturing, and automotive. In agriculture, you look at products such as wine and citrus that would be most negatively impacted. So exporters in those industries would still be able to export to the US, but of course then their products, their components that are moved to the US won't be tariff free. So then they would need to pay more in terms of tariffs. So they could continue to export to the US, but possibly they would need to factor in those costs, for example, when they sell those goods domestically or internationally, and that in turn increases the costs for consumers. So that could then factor into their operations where they need to reassess employment, for example, so it could result in job losses. It does also offer the opportunity for those industries to develop, where possible, exports and links to other markets that are somewhat less tariff intensive or even tariff free. In terms of the wider South Africa-US relationship, should South Africa no longer be part of AGOA, it doesn't mean the end of all South Africa-US ties, be those diplomatic, political, economic, or societal, but it does send a negative message, a strong negative message, and signal about the state of the South Africa-US relationship. It could still be rectified, it could still be saved, but it makes it yet more difficult for things to improve over the long term, and it does act as a mark in terms of how the US views its relationship with South Africa.
So there you go. In a country where unemployment is already super high, South Africa not being part of AGOA could mean even more unemployment, and that is definitely not good. And already things are very expensive in South Africa, so the news that things might be even more expensive, well, that's going to piss off a lot of people. And you can guarantee the ANC is just going to blame the US and AfriForum for these problems.
As usual.
I'll keep a close eye and we'll see what Donald Trump has to say about all this. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about all this? Don't forget to also become a member, ladies and gentlemen. Your monthly contribution as a member will help me keep the content coming. But if you don't want to contribute monthly, that's okay. You can also give a super thanks or a sasa thanks, as we call them on this channel. It would be greatly appreciated. All the details are at the bottom of this video. Just click the join button to find out more. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Your Newsflash is in.
Thank you. So how's your day going?